بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. For our first lesson today, we're looking again in our book, in our lessons of An-Nahu, the science of how sentences are made. And right now we're in the section discussing the ism. As we mentioned before, in Arabic, words or kalimat can be of three different types. Either an ism, roughly equivalent to a noun, a fi'al, roughly equivalent to a verb, or a harf, roughly equivalent to a preposition. Every word in the Arabic language is going to be one of those three types of words. So right now, we're talking about the ism and the different ways we can categorize an ism. In the previous lesson, we mentioned that an ism can be categorized by its definiteness. So every ism is either definite or indefinite. It is either ma'rifa or nakira. Now today, we're going to talk about how a ism can either be mudhakkar or mu'annath. Al-mudhakkar is the masculine and al-mu'annath is the feminine. Al-mudhakkar wal-mu'annath, masculine and feminine. And as usual, the author here, he's going to give us some examples. Rajulun, man. Ibnun, son. Abun, father. Akhun, brother. Wajhun, face. Kitabun, book. Qalamun, pen. Batanun, stomach or belly. Dhahrun, back. Baladun, a land. Saqfun, a roof. Hajarun, a stone. Anfun, a nose. Sadarun, a chest. Qamarun, a moon. If we look at all these words, all these are examples of words in Arabic that are masculine by nature. The first four of these words, rajul, ibn, ab, akh, all of those are masculine because they represent things that are actually masculine in reality. Rajul, a man, is always a man. He's always masculine. Ibn, a son, is always of the male sex. Ab, a father, same thing. Akh, a brother, the same way. So these are words that simply by the thing that they refer to, they're masculine by virtue of that they refer to a thing that in reality actually is masculine. The rest of these words, wajh, face, kitab, book, qalam, pen, batan, all these words, they are masculine simply in the way that we treat them linguistically, right? You know, kitab, a book, it's not that some books are masculine and some books are feminine, or qalam, some pens are masculine and some pens are feminine. No, it's just that for the purposes of language, some words we treat them as masculine in the grammar, and some words we treat them as feminine. So some words are, because of their meaning, mudhakkar, masculine, and some words are just masculine by virtue of that's how they're treated in the Arabic language. That's how the Arabs use those words in their language. Now, he gives us examples of some feminine words. Imra'atun, a woman, right? Obviously feminine because it's referring to a feminine entity in reality. Bintun, a daughter, same reason. Ummun, a mother. Ukhtun, a sister. All these are what are called mu'annith haqiqi. They are really feminine. They refer to something that is feminine in reality. But the rest of the words, shajaratun, a tree. That is feminine here because it has the ta marbuta attached to it. Hubla. Hubla means someone that's pregnant. Sahra. Sahra is the desert. Like the word that we have Sahara comes from Sahra. Shams, the sun. Sun is a feminine word, or a sun rather. Udhun, an ear. Ear is feminine. Aynun, the eye. An eye is feminine. Yadun, a hand is feminine. Rajulun, a foot. Once again, feminine. Zainab. Now here Zainab is a name, but it's a feminine name, so it's referring to a feminine person. So then it is mu'annith haqiqi. It really is feminine by nature. Adun. Ad here is referring to the people of Ad. Any word that refers to a nation is going to be feminine. Quraysh, a tribe, right? So the same way, any tribe name is going to be treated as feminine. London, the city. And here we have other cities. Baghdad, Dimashq. Al-Harb, the war. So war is a feminine word in Arabic. An-nar, the fire. Fire is also feminine. Ad-dar, the house. All examples of feminine words. Some of them are mu'annith because they in reality refer to feminine objects. Some of them are mu'annith because they have a ta marbuta attached to them. So any word that has a ta marbuta at the end, as a general word, there's an exception to this we'll see, but as general, any word that has a ta marbuta, this is a feminine ta, then that means that word is going to be feminine. Hubla, someone that's pregnant, obviously feminine. Sahra, here referring to the desert. Anytime you see a word that ends in this alif and hamza like that, and this alif and the hamza are not from the root letters of the word, then that word is feminine. This word sahra, the root letters are sad, ha, and ra. And anytime you have this alif and then hamza added on to the word, then that word is going to be feminine. And this is what is called al-alif al-mamduda. Another thing to remember is that for body parts, any body part that comes in a pair is going to be treated as feminine. For example, udhun, an ear. People have two ears, so that's treated as feminine. Ayn, an eye, because that they come in twos, it's treated as feminine. Same thing, yad, hand, rijul, foot. And also, names of tribes, nations, cities are all going to be feminine. And then we have some words like al-harb, the war, an-nar, the fire, ad-dar, the house. We just have to learn and memorize that those kind of words are treated as feminine. He gives us a little bit of explanation about that. He says, وَيُسَمَّى كُلُّ مِثَالٍ مِنَ الْأَمْثِلَةِ الْأُولَى مُذَكَّرًا. He said all the examples from the first list of examples are called mudhakkar, are called masculine. وَيُسَمَّى كُلُّ مِثَالٍ مِنَ الْأَمْثِلَةِ الثَّانِيَةِ مُؤَنَّثًا. And all the examples from the second group of examples are called mu'annath, feminine. Then he says, وَالْمُؤَنَّث نَوْعَانِ. And the mu'annath, the feminine, is of two types. Alif, the first type, حَقِيقِيٌّ, what is really feminine. وَهُوَ مَا يُقَابِلُهُ ذَكَرٌ مِنَ الْحَيَوَانِ. So the mu'annath can be of two types. The first, that which is a real feminine entity, meaning a living being, an animal, and there's males and females from that species, and this is referring to the female version from that species. Like imra'a is from the category of human being. There's male human beings, female human beings. Imra'a is referring to one of the female human beings. Very simple. And second, وَاللَّفْظِ. Lafz means, like sounds that come out of the mouth. So وَاللَّفْظِ, meaning those things that are only feminine by virtue of the way that we treat the word. The word is feminine, but it doesn't refer to something that actually has a feminine existence to it in the world. وَهُوَ مَا لَيْسَ كَذَلِكَ, meaning, and it is what is not like the first example. Meaning everything that's feminine, that's not from a kind of animal that has males and females, then that word is just mu'annath lafzi. It's just feminine in the usage. And you can ask yourself, why do we say al-mu'annath is of two types? Real feminine and that which is only feminine in usage, and we don't say that for mudhakkar, the male case, the masculine case. It's because the default is for a word to be masculine. So basically, we can say all words are treated as masculine unless it's mu'annith haqiqi, it's referring to an actual feminine entity, or it's mu'annith lafzi, it's something that we treat it as feminine just in the way we use it in the language. But the Arabs, in the way they speak, treated it the way they treat al-mu'annith, the feminine. مثل, for example, الشجرة, the tree, والشمس, the sun. والمؤنث اللفظي قياسي والسماعي. This is important to understand as well. The mu'annith that is not referring to actual feminine entity, al-mu'annith al-lafzi, that which is just referring to something that the Arabs treat as feminine in their language. It can be by qiyas, that which there's a certain pattern, so we always know that these kind of words are treated as feminine, and some are just sama'i. They just come from hearing, meaning the only way to know is that you've learned that you hear the Arabs using that word in their sentences as a feminine word, and so now you know that this word is feminine in Arabic language. There's no rule to it to know that word is feminine. It's just by the way that the Arabs use their language, just by convention, you could say. So now explaining the two types, he says, فَالْقِيَاسِيُّ مَا كَانَ فِيهِ عَلَامَةٌ مِنْ عَلَامَاتِ التَّأْنِيثِ. Those that are known by analogy are what have those words that have a sign from the signs of being feminine. At-ta, the ta, that ta marbuta, like we have in ash-shajara, you know that's feminine because it has a ta marbuta. وَالْأَلِفُ الْمَقْصُورَةِ, the alif al-maqsura, and that's that alif that looks like a ya without the dots, right? Sometimes you see in certain words this kind of alif that looks like a ya, but it doesn't have those dots, just like that. A word that has that alif al-maqsura, then you know that word is feminine. وَالْأَلِفُ الْمَمْدُودَةِ, the alif, that's that straight up alif that has a hamza after it, like in the word sahra, sahra. And then was sama'i ma laysa kadhalik. Those that are only known by hearing, they're just those ones that don't have a sign, but we have to know they're treated as feminine. And then here, he also mentions all those limbs from the body or appendages to the body that come in pairs. They're going to be treated as mu'annath, like the ayn and the udhun, the eye and the ear. And then the opposite of that, every appendage of the body that is just singular, then that's treated as mudhakkar, as masculine, except for three exceptions that he's mentioned here. Al-kabd, the liver, wal-karish, like means a pot belly or a fat stomach, wat-tihal, the spleen. وَأَسْمَاءُ الْبُلْدَانِ وَالْقَبَائِلِ مُؤَنَّثَةٌ غَالِبًا. And the names of countries or places, buldan, here is the plural of balad, and of tribes, qaba'il, here this is the plural of qabila, The names of countries and tribes, generally, not always, but most of the time, are going to be treated as feminine.